Hello friends, so today we will be learning how to make square bottoms in Copperplate Calligraphy. Before we go ahead, let me tell you that we will be approaching the square bottom in three different ways. The first one will be for beginners. So here not much of the time manipulation will be required. So the beginners can feel a little bit easy if they are struggling with the square bottoms. The second one will be for the intermediate level calligraphers. So here by this time the calligraphers should have learned how to manipulate the tines a little bit. And the third one will be an advanced level. This is not to teach anybody how the advanced level is done. This is to show the intermediate level calligraphers and the beginner level calligraphers that if you have achieved the advanced level pen manipulation technique, if you have learned that, then that is the fastest way to make the square bottoms, and that is the most crisp way to make the square bottoms. So before we move ahead and see what are the three different ways by which the square bottoms can be achieved, we will have to understand a little bit about how the tines are being manipulated here. What happens once the tines reach down, how they are splitting apart, and when they are reaching down, what are their positions with respect to each other. You have to understand that. I will be attempting a tapering stroke here which will end into a square bottom. So here what has happened is, as I was approaching down, the tines were spreading apart evenly on both the sides, and as I was reaching the bottom part about here, you will notice that the right tine was leading, which means it had traveled more distance than the left tine. Let me show you. So this time what I will do is, as I will reach bottom, I will lift my nib so that you can see that first manipulation is spreading of the tine and the second manipulation is making this square bottom. So what I will do right now is, after the first manipulation I will stop and won't do the second manipulation to show you what is the empty space that is left where the manipulation has to be done. Okay, so here you go. So I will be coming down, and this is my first manipulation, and I'm lifting here. Okay, if you will notice that this bottom part is actually angular, right? It is not straight, it is somewhat like this. What does that tell you? It tells you that the right tine traveled more than that of the left tine, and that is why we have that angular shape there. So we can say that this is our leading stroke, and this will be our lagging stroke. Okay, now so what is left is, after this what is left is to make this square bottom. So if this is angular like this, it will mean that the space that is left is a triangular shape. So if this strand had reached here, then what would be left is this triangular area that needs to be filled with ink. So the second manipulation is to fill in the triangular area. Okay, so I stopped it a little bit before, just to give you an idea of how things are going on, but in reality I would have stopped when the right tine would have reached the baseline. So it would have looked something like this, a triangular area still left and needs to be filled. Okay, So now let us attempt this stroke again, and this time we will slow down as we will be going ahead and doing the second pen manipulation. So let's come down. So you will see that my nib is angular and my right tine has almost reached the baseline, but my left tine still needs to travel a little bit of distance. So what is happening is, at this point, because I kept the nib there for such a long time, the ink kind of jumped from the nib. But what I'm trying to say here is, as the nib reaches here, I will make this shade synthetically to give you an idea so that I can explain it easily. So suppose that this whole region is filled with ink and you need to make this possible so that the bottom is a perfect square. This left tine has to come down further and the right tine has to move back towards the left tine. That is what we are trying to do here. So let's go ahead and see how a beginner level calligraphy artist can accomplish a square bottom easily. Okay, so what you can do is come down and stop way ahead. Okay, and then draw a synthetic line very carefully from both sides and fill it in. Okay, so a lot of great calligraphy artists used to retouch their work. Even their square bottoms were not perfect in a single stroke. What they would do is they would retouch it before sending it to an engraver. So you doing it is not a problem at all. Go ahead and try this. Okay, so now let us move ahead and see how an intermediate level calligraphy artist should approach the square bottom. So as I had shown you earlier, as we move down and start to attempt the second manipulation. What is the first manipulation? The first manipulation is to spread the tines evenly on both sides and make that thick stroke possible with it, right? The second manipulation is to drag the right tine towards the left tine and to drag the left tine even further downwards in such a way that both the right and the left tines meet each other on the left. Do you get it? So this time we will not lift the nib, we will come down, we will acknowledge the fact that that slant has approached where the right tine is leading and the left tine is lagging, and then we will drag the nib in such a way that the square bottom is possible, the way I explained earlier. Okay, coming down, spreading the tine, first manipulation is done and the second manipulation is to make the nibs meet. Got it? So what did I do here? As I reached here, I understood that after my first manipulation, up until here the ink was filled and this region was empty, and if I wanted a square bottom, we needed ink in this region. So what I did was I moved slowly my right tine towards the left and I dragged my left tine downwards, and finally I made them meet with each other. Should I draw it again? Let's do it again. Okay, so what I'm doing is coming down, spreading the tine. Okay, this is actually a great thing that happened. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a stroke without much of the ink so that you can see what is actually happening. So I'm coming down, spreading the tine, and I'm lifting. Did you see what is there? I'll right now bring it closer to you and you will see what I have been talking all this time. Okay, so which means that now this is the space that needs to be filled, this triangular space here. So I will attempt it again. Come down, spread the tine, bring the two tines together. There is your square bottom. Okay, so now we have reached the last and final technique by which square bottoms can be achieved in Copperplate calligraphy. So here what happens is, those who are very well versed with how the nibs can be manipulated, who have worked on Copperplate calligraphy for years, what they do is they make the square bottom with a quick snapping motion. What that means is, as the tines approach the bottom, they don't make the stroke slowly. What they do is, as they come down, they are doing the same thing as we saw what we did in the intermediate level technique, but they do the same thing in a quick snapping motion rather than slowing it down. So they have more control over their muscles, they have more control over the tines, and so the quick snapping motion is one of the fastest ways to make a perfect square, and this is also the trick by which you can make crisp looking square bottoms. So let me see if I can use less ink to show how this works. You'll be able to see how the tines are actually moving down and closing. So this is something that even I struggle with sometimes. It depends on the mood, the temperature, the climate, everything. So we will have to hold our breath and see if I can do it or not. Awesome. So you see, that's amazing. This actually makes my heart pound every time I try it. There is my square bottom. You see it? I can still see a little bit of gap here, which means that I did not move totally down before I dragged my nib back towards the left. So this is actually what is happening. This is actually what the experts do. Okay, so I am acting like an expert, but I definitely am not. I'm just trying to teach you what I have learned so far in my calligraphy journey. I have done calligraphy for the last 3 years, and this is how I am trying to share what I have learned. So let's do this with ink in the nib and see if I can still accomplish it. So I did it, but the problem that is here again exists here. You see, I am still not, I'm kind of hurrying it. Before the right tine is reaching the baseline, I am trying to come back and join the two tines. So it's still better, because what you can do is this pointy thing is the most important part of the square bottom, and because I have achieved that, I don't care if there is a little bit of space left. I will just go back and fill it in to make it look like a square bottom. But just because you think of me as somebody who can teach calligraphy, I will have to keep attempting it again until I show you that I can. Awesome, there you go. So that is how the experts do it. I am no expert, I am just showing you how it is done. So these are the 3 ways how the square bottoms are made. Let me know if this has helped, and let me know at what stage you are. So until next time, keep writing alive. Let's do this, guys.